We've got about another hour of programming here for you, both in the parlor at the Grand Hotel, and those of us who are streaming us. I appreciate your willingness to participate in this conference from around the state and hopefully around the nation. My name is Brad Williams. I've been your host for the last 2 days. You're going to still have to look at my face a few more times. I apologize for that, but that's how these things go. Our first session this afternoon, and we're close to noon, on Live from Mackinac, sponsored by DTE Energy, is a conversation about FOIA and good government with Senator Jeremy Moss from Southfield and Senator Ed McBroom from Vulcan. Do I have that right? Vulcan, which is in the UP. Over the course of this conference, I always ask folks how their trip up was to Mackinac Island. And Senator McBroom is the one person I had to ask how his trip down was. So this will be a great conversation. Our moderator for the next couple sessions is Chad Livengood from the Detroit News. So gentlemen, take it away.
All right, well, that trip from the UP is over and down for you, Senator McBroom. Well,
he does it every week.
Yes, he does, yes.
This was less than halfway to Lansing for me.
Yeah, this is an easy one, yeah. And remind me, is this your district here? I can't remember. No, you don't have this. You don't have the
I've got
Eastern
almost everything. Not the Sioux, not St. Ignace, and not Mackinac Island.
Okay.
This isn't my district either.
Yeah, it's a little ways away from Southfield. So we want to talk about the Freedom of Information Act. For anybody who doesn't know, that is the Michigan's law that governs the release and handling of public records. And Michigan is one of 2 states in the union that does not have a law where the FOIA law applies to the legislature and the governor. And you two, as long as I can remember, and it feels like it's going on a decade, have been on kind of a quixotic journey to try to get this added to the law. And wanted to just start with, Senator McBroom about where we are, where this stands right now, and why can't you get it done?
Well, we did get it done where we have control. We've got it out of the Senate again. And I think that right now it's just a pawn on the chessboard of the politics in Lansing. And I'm optimistic that it's going to happen. I think all the stars are lined up. It's just the House sees this as our priorities, and that gives them additional leverage over some of their priorities.
Yeah, Senator Ross, what's your thoughts about how the current state of this is going?
No, I agree with Senator McBroom. I think this is the year that I think we can actually get it done. I've talked to the speaker about this. Obviously, he has his HEAT plan, Hall, Ethics, and Transparency. I just want to add an F to the end of it for FOIA. I keep saying HEAT. So I really believe there's an opportunity to get this done. It has been on the board in the House before. It has passed unanimously in the House before. Obviously, we did our job to get it out of the Senate. This is something that the only people that make the argument against transparency are the people that are doing something wrong. So this is an opportunity in this kind of divided government to put up something that we all can embrace and support.
What does this bill do? I mean, just kind of what's the structure of it, and what will it still exempt from public access?
Well, for the governor's office, it's really just, they already follow FOIA for all the individual departments. They just don't at the executive office level. Yep. So it opens up the regular documents and stuff that are already they're accustomed to doing. So it's an easier hurdle for the executive branch. There are a few exemptions for kind of their early sketches of what the budget might look like, and if they're doing investigations on a governor or another public official, if they're vetting somebody for a position, those things wouldn't be exposed. But otherwise, it's pretty broad. The legislature is a little different. It's a different animal, a lot of different rules. We have constitutional protections for speech and debate. So it's a bit more nuanced. What would open up some of the things I remember is our calendar, who visits our office, our communication with other state agencies on behalf of our constituents, and our communications with non-constituents that are not related to developing a bill.
So if you're communicating, Senator Moss, with the Health and Human Services Department about policy, would those communications be kept kept exempt from disclosure?
No, I mean, a lot of that information would be subject to public disclosure. A lot of that.
I mean, right now we can get it if we go FOIA,
On the other end.
the recipient agency.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The things that would be more shielded are the communications between Senator Moss and I as we develop a policy
That's right.
issue. And certainly our private communications with constituents on their behalf. We want to protect their ability to communicate with us. But I think, the notable thing is I get requests all the time, contact the DNR on my behalf on this issue. Well, now that constituent will be able to check and make sure I actually did it.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of many transparency proposals in Lansing. On the House side, the House has adopted a whole new set of procedures for the disclosure of earmarks, making lawmakers put their name on it up front so that we don't get like $1 billion added to the state budget at 6 o'clock and we voted on it by 9 o'clock, which happened once or twice. And so will the Senate Democrats go along with something like that in a budget deal?
Yeah, we actually have engaged in that for the very first time as Senate Democrats last time. We were the ones who, after the budget was passed, did outline which specific projects were sponsored by which senator. I don't think that's been done before, with Senate Democrats leading the charge. I'm open to expanding and growing that accountability and transparency. If everything that I put in the budget, I'm fine with it being open to public scrutiny. And in many cases, I want to take ownership over that and demonstrate I'm fighting for these investments in my community. And I would hope that every legislator would want to do the same. So if there can be an opportunity for even more transparency in the budget process, count me in.
What about Senator McBroom? What about campaign finance? We have effectively two systems of campaign finance. We have the committees that raise money, the PACs, the candidate committees, and then we have that's all disclosed, and it has been. And there's limits, and there's a whole lot of set of rules, and we can see if you bought a Snickers bar or something, or if you stayed at the Grand Hotel, and then there is the 501c4, which effectively everyone knows to be the slush fund, essentially. That there's no transparency. It'll only say that Senator McBroom spent $20,000 for travel. It didn't say that Senator McBroom went to the Grand Hotel and took his wife, and I mean, not that you would ever do that, but
I couldn't raise $20,000 if I wanted to.
I'd throw your wife into this, and she's sitting right here. But nonetheless, and I think you owe her a trip to the Grand Hotel now. Why do we still have this? Why do we have two systems? And what can be done about it?
Yeah, I've looked a lot into this particular problem, and a lot of it has to do with just the federal tax code for nonprofits and how right now basically the Michigan State Legislature members, others in the executive branch have found that there's this basically loophole in the federal tax code. And I think we desperately need the federal government to set up some new parameters and shunt these kind of political nonprofit accounts into a different system than all your other traditional nonprofit accounts that are used for educational purposes and things. Until that's happened, I'm not totally sure what we can do, although you and I have talked. I've talked with Senator Moss. We do have some ideas about forcing disclosure. I'm not sure if they would pass eventually through a court decision, but I think they are worth trying to do. We certainly need it.
Yeah, Senator Moss, couldn't the Michigan legislature just pass a bill that says these federally governed organizations, if they are associated with a member of this body or a statewide official, that they have to disclose through the Campaign Finance Act?
So we're abutting against some federal rules and laws that we're trying to figure out what's the path forward. We've talked about this to see what we can achieve. But I think the premise of your question is absolutely right. There's way too much dark money in Lansing. And we need to figure out ways to shine a light on it. Sunlight is the best disinfectant to ethics breaches and scandals and questions. And so I'm in favor of anything that we can figure out how to make sure that there's more exposure and more accountability for all the various fundraising vehicles that a legislator could utilize.
One of the things I'm working on is, can we limit the participation in donations to campaigns from state-sponsored monopolies? particularly from our utilities and from other monopolies, maybe from our universities and others. I think that there's a tremendous amount of undue influence that happens to both parties then that directs our ability to have good policy discussions. And I'd really like to see us do something about that. That's another thing that we've been working on. We're both running out of time, so we have to start now planning who are we going to pass these goals on to.
Yeah.
That seems like a big one to go after DTE and consumers.
Well, you know, I would think they should support it. I mean, I don't know
So
that
they have to spend shareholder money?
Or why should they want to do that? I mean,
ratepayer
they do
money.
it for survival, but is it really the greatest thing for our system? I don't think so.
Yeah. What do you think of, I mean, just on that front, what do you think about how the utility companies advertise? They do a lot of advertising, and yet they are a monopoly. You can't change your electric provider unless you're one of the 10%.
Yeah.
But those seats never open up at that theater.
I'm in the UP. I don't even have DTE and consumers available to me. I'm stuck with somebody else, so I can't answer. I have never seen these ads.
There are a lot of them.
Yes. Finally, back to FOIA. What do you think is still the fundamental hurdle to get Speaker Matt Hall on board with this? Because he has just showed no interest in FOIA. Even though he voted for it, I think.
He has voted for it. I think it aligns with the ethics stuff that he's putting forward. I've heard intimations that if we take up House ethics plans, he'll take up Senate ethics plans. Don't threaten me with a good time. I'm fine with all of it.
Yeah.
So no, I think that the more that our friends who depend on FOIA, both people in the media, both citizens who are looking for information from their government, continue to make a case for this, I hope there's movement. The sad reality is all the scandals out of Lansing have probably made the best case for this. So if we really want to uphold ethics and good governance, this is one of the biggest and most effective tools to do it. So the only people who want less transparency in government benefit from less transparency in government. And I'm confident that Speaker Hall does not want that to be his legacy.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Matt Hall's a deal maker. I think he supports it. I don't even think he's opposed to it. He's just looking to put his best opportunity for his caucus and for his chamber forward, and when that time comes, he'll execute.
Yeah, we did find out about that $4,500 coffee maker via FOIA.
Yeah.
So we look forward to trying to find out if you guys have gotten any $4,500 coffee makers.
I don't drink coffee.
I don't drink coffee.
Oh, how do these two guys survive? Well, in our final
We're always tired.
Yes. Our final 3 minutes here. What is one issue you want to get done besides FOIA right now? What's one issue you want to get done before year's end, before we get back into an election cycle? And I ask this in context that you're both term limited and you're running for Congress now, so you probably got a mark on your back. But let's start with Senator McBroom.
Well, I mean, I have a lot of bills that I've worked on over the last 15 years. I still have a huge passion for more good government, ways to make the government work better. I've been suggesting a reform to the State Board of Education. I've got a constitutional amendment to change the 3 universities that have the only elected boards in the whole country over to appointed systems that our governor could do. There's a lot of other changes, fixes to immediate effect, which you know is an anachronism in our Constitution that desperately needs to be fixed because it's abused. Those are all things I'm very passionate about, want to do. And then, of course, there's UP-centric things with wildlife management and things that I'm also big on. And the last thing I'll talk about is education. I'm just really big on seeing more education opportunities for skilled trades, for our high school students to have more flexibility in their life choices. So those are my projects.
Well, we don't want to put the viewers to sleep on a media effect
How
here.
did I take so long for that? I'm
That's
sorry.
all right.
Oh, that's okay. Final 10 seconds, Senator McBroom.
Strengthening our price gouging law. If I'm closing out some of my projects in the legislature, obviously running for Congress, looking to continue some of my work, Michigan's price gouging law is very weak, and I've been trying to strengthen it over the years.
Our lemon law, too.
And we almost got it done last session.
All right, well, thank you very much, Senator Jeremy Moss and Senator Ed McBroom.
That's a good one.
I'm Chad Livengood with the Detroit News. Thank you for tuning into this session here.